wellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives.
You're listening to A Quirky Journey, the Healthy Family podcast with your hosts Jo Whitten and Leah Follett. Welcome to A Quirky Journey. Join us as we share our family's journeys to good health. You'll find plenty of inspiration, tips and recipe ideas, as well as stories from everyday people who've struggled and overcome health problems and diet challenges in their own families. I'm Jo Whitten, author of the blog and book Quirky Cooking, and I'm here with my good friend Alexx Stuart. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
She's also a big believer in the idea that food is medicine, and so she's going to be sharing with us today about the recent Mind Forum that she was at in Sydney, which I sadly missed out on going to. So, firstly, I think we should just explain exactly what the Mind Foundation is and what the forum is, and so people know what in the world we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everybody out there. I've been a Mind ambassador for a couple of years now, and it's something I really believe in. And I think a lot of things on the internet, pop up on our screens and around, and you think, oh, what is all this stuff? But there's something that stands out for me about Mind, which is its relentless drive to attract like-minded integrative professionals to basically come together and look at absolute up-to-the-minute research in lifestyle cause and effect, not just in, oh my gosh, this has become this extreme, so we've got this medicine or this operation for this. But there's just so many other pieces of the puzzle that can really support people to live their best lives, especially children. Children is a big focus for the foundation. And I might just read out their mission statement. That way it comes from Mind direct, and there's no way for me to actually misinterpret the words because they're really great, concise words. And that is, the Mind Foundation is committed to improving the lives of Australians by promoting integrative healthcare that treats the source of illness in each individual with the aim of helping them to reach their full potential and enjoy a life of health and happiness. So the words integrative healthcare are some that maybe some people out there are going, I feel too silly to ask what that might be. So I might just explain that for everybody.
You.
And that is treating patients not just with one health professional. Like, a lot of us grew up, if you were born in the 70s, 60s, you grow up, you go to your doctor. If your doctor can't fix it, or if there's nothing wrong with the blood test but you're still feeling symptoms, it's a really tricky little grey area that then opens up. And traditionally, there really hasn't been much of a place for people to go. But these days, you've got naturopaths, kinesiologists, occupational therapists, nutritionists, EFT specialists. I mean, there's so many GAPS practitioners, so many different forms of help you can get for these grey areas where perhaps one traditional modality just isn't the full answer for your family. The integrative care is about working across professions and across the knowledge that you have as a health professional and cherry picking who you work with. There are a lot of practices setting up now, which I love, where within the practice, even in my quite traditional GP's practice, there's a nutritionist on Fridays and Saturdays there now. And, it's really, and then health coaches to support lifestyle changes that doctors want implemented, but in their little 15-minute window, they don't have time nor really the qualification because that's not what they focus on in their degrees. So it's really just about a great new direction in healthcare where no one health professional says, I know everything that needs knowing for you. It's like, well, here's what I know and here's how I can help. And I think it'd be great for us to bring in a naturopath for this bit and to work with an occupational therapist for this bit. And, you know what I mean? So I just think it's a really exciting new way to approach things. It's the way that I've approached my health in the last 10 years. I don't think any one health professional should be
expected to know everything.
Yeah. I think people pay out doctors and they're angry with doctors. And I just think, well, doctors learnt one thing, one way, and one modality. And, yeah, sure, some people then do postgrad nutrition and a few other things. But if you haven't, I don't think that you should be chastised for that. It's just what you know, and then you see someone else for another bit. Because modern medicine is incredible for saving the day. I mean, if you're at risk of amputation because of an accident and someone can use the up-to-the-minute technology to keep your limb, and I mean, there's incredible things that form of education can give us. So to kind of blanket say, "Oh, I hate modern medicine," it's just I think we're too narrow sometimes in. And that can come from a frustration in not having been helped by that system. I get
having that big grey area that you never felt like anyone could help you with.
Yeah, and I've certainly been a part of that myself with subclinical thyroid, where everything seems okay, but then you go to a naturopath and they see disaster.
Yes.
So it's really just about knowing what's out there now and really working integratively.
I love that is becoming much more the system now. I know when I go to my chiropractor, he works on my back with manipulations, and then he says, okay, now you need to go get a massage. And he says, are you seeing your naturopath? And he talks about the different things and says, make sure you're doing this and that, and talk to them about this area. And he understands about gaps, and he thinks it's great. And, it's not just I fix your back and then everything is okay. He understands that there's every sort of other area that you need to work on as well.
Absolutely.
So it's great.
Chiropractic is one of the best examples of progressive healthcare with how much they seem to take on. I know my chiropractor's a kinesiologist. He specialises in EFT. What else does he do? Oh, yeah, I know. So I totally get it. And I think it's about surrounding yourself with people who you feel like really look at the whole you. I think of my amazing integrative dentist, Dr. Ron Ehrlich of the Sydney Holistic Dental Centre. Let me get that right. Yeah. And he always talks about how the mouth is not just a mouth. It's attached to a whole body.
Yes.
There are a lot of messages going between those parts of our bodies, and to treat just one area is really odd.
Yes, and it's funny that you should say that, because our dentist, he's an older guy who's about to retire, but his wife's a naturopath, and they're very into natural health. That's about the closest as we can get up here to an integrative dentist. But he told my husband, you really need to get off gluten. It's no good for your teeth. And, he understands that there's more, like you say, it's not just a mouth. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. So basically, Mind Foundation helps people with finding this kind of healthcare and educating people in all of this. And so the forum, do you want to just explain what the Mind Forum is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if we look at today, allergies affect 1 in 3 Aussie kids.
It's amazing.
I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
And there's a statistic, please don't quote me on this, but I am actually just trying to dig into my memory bank. But it's something like these days an allergy will be hospitalised in 1 in 10 cases at some point in the child's life.
Wow.
Just 10 years ago, that figure was 1 in 100.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me there isn't something
going wrong
for this to be growing at the rate that it is. So there's asthma is 1 in 4, ADHD 1 in 10, autism 1 in 90. So childhood cancer, diabetes, obesity, depression, they've all doubled in the past 2 decades. So the forum really is to create a space for 3 days where professionals from all around the country meet. There's a practitioner area which hold practitioner level kind of understanding, if you like, lectures, and those practitioners also get tested and are awarded practitioner points so that they can be recognised within the Mind family as integrative care specialists who are up to the minute with all the research in holistic treatment of patients.
And you can go onto the Mind website and find a practitioner.
You sure can, and that's dated quite soon again, actually, to include more practitioners. And so there's practitioners doing some learning, but there's also the public lecture series.
Yeah.
So there's sort of two conferences, if you like, going on at the same time. And for the public lectures, it's really for, as we were talking about, perhaps it's parents, maybe it's even just adults, because there's children's and adults lectures all kind of mixed in together, where you just feel like you're in that grey area where maybe your symptoms just perhaps can't be medicated in a traditional way, and yet, you want them to be recognised. So maybe you're exploring things. Maybe you're a parent who just wants to learn more about how you can help your child who is experiencing ADHD, allergies, autism, or any of these modern epidemics, because the knowledge that these practitioners have who lecture are just incredible people who work with bizarre cases and difficult cases and non-textbook cases every single day in their practices. So they're really starting to be able, after quite a few years, to come to some conclusions and really help people. So I've known so many parents who've had light bulb moments from going to that talk. So many.
And it's on every year in May.
Yeah, it's usually around May.
May, yep. So I know next year's in May because they've asked me to be there because I missed out this year.
Yay! Oh, well, I'm going to be there too.
Woohoo.
And there's the beautiful Food as Medicine Day, which is usually the first
Sounds like the day for me.
Yeah. So that's where we're both going to be doing good things.
So tell us what you do on the Food for Medicine Day.
So Food as Medicine is all about, predominantly about demos, but there are a couple of great lectures. The wonderful Michelle Chevalier-Hedge did a great lecture on sugar and hidden sugar this year, and presented some incredible science around that. And then people like me who are either a health coach or just concerned citizens, people who've been demoing or teaching about whole food, real food for a long time and who can motivate people.
Yeah.
Just present a few recipes and ideas to really help families, because if you are just a regular family who maybe you didn't have any issues yourself growing up, but then you've got a child who presents with allergies or eczema, dermatitis, maybe it's asthma, whatever it is, or autism, and you have just been feeding them the usual supermarket available foods, and that's including the middle aisles as well as the outside aisles, it's pretty daunting to go, well, SHIT, what on earth am I going to feed my child? I don't actually know food. I'm not connected to food. I don't know how to cook.
How do you go back to basics and make things from scratch?
Totally. Or maybe you've just been told you have to cut out all gluten, dairy, casein, starch, and you've been put on
Tomatoes, mushrooms.
Salicylates, phenols, whatever it might be that your family is dealing with. If you don't have that natural creative gene, because you haven't been cooking with a parent growing up yourself, and you don't know how to rustle up and how to make do with what your confines are, it can be really scary and super daunting. So the Food as Medicine Day is twofold. It's firstly about helping people understand the sheer power of what good food can do to add to your overall wellness picture. But secondly, to empower people to learn the language of real food and to get cooking ideas, recipe ideas, techniques, simple time savers, money savers, because obviously,
it's a big issue.
It's a big issue. People see the price of a kilo of organic broccoli and think, oh, my gosh. But then if you go to a lecture and you say, well, how about all of that stuff in your trolley? About a third of the trolley is not contributing to a meal at all and providing any nutritional benefit, and there's about $50 worth of food sitting there. Why don't you reinvest that 50 into making more nutritional meals? Bang, you can afford organics overnight.
Yeah.
But it's about being helped, being shown, being, guided through that. So that Friday is a really special day. I think it's
perfect. I can't wait to go along to that next year.
Yeah. And then the Saturday and the Sunday are usually divided, one into the modern childhood epidemics and their causes. There's often maybe a heart disease lecture, something around that. It's a bit more adult focused, cancer. And then on the Sunday, you usually have environmental toxins, which is obviously a personal favourite of mine too.
Yes.
Passionate about
Alexx
that.
is a bit of an expert on this issue.
Yeah. So, and then this year, there was it was a Skype lecture because Stephanie's based in the US, but Stephanie Seneth, who's a global authority on glyphosate and what it's doing to our health today, and her lecture was just mind-blowing.
Oh, I bet.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Are any of these available online?
They're not available online yet,
Mm-hmm.
but Mind is just about to start putting together webinar and video series.
Oh,
So
good.
the best thing you can do, I think, is actually just become a member. It's I think it's about $100 a year or $99 a year.
Mm-hmm.
You also get a discount to the forum by being a member, so you'll make that back pretty much if you go to the whole forum. If you're already a member, and then you get newsletters and special events and all sorts of things that are put on throughout the year, and you'll obviously have access to these extra video tools that that Leslie and the team are going to be putting up. So I'd encourage membership, and I think if it's something that we believe in, and I know there's lots of us out there that do,
support it.
Yeah, totally. What's $100 over
A whole year.
12 months? Look at that as a monthly figure. Maybe if you just want to put $10 in an account for 10 weeks somewhere and forget about it, then in 10 weeks you can become a member. And then you've supported. And what that does to a not-for-profit organisation is it helps them budget and it helps them know what they've got to work with.
Yeah.
And
they've got amazing speakers that they want to bring to Australia, like Natasha Campbell McBride, and
exactly right.
And they've got to be able to pay them.
Yeah, they do, of course.
So,
there's accommodation, there's flights. Australia's yonkers away
from everywhere.
It's an expensive place to bring people. So because they can't do big national US tours around forum. They might visit a couple of extra cities, but that's it. So it's yes, it's expensive to bring out speakers. So I'd encourage everybody to do that.
That's good. Thank you. So how did you get involved with the Mind Forum? How did you first start helping out?
Oh, gosh. It was probably about 3 years ago, and I'm a good friend of Kitsa Yaniotis, who's the incredible creator of Kitsa's Kitchen and probably the queen of bringing cultured foods back into the limelight for
in Australia.
Families. So Kitsa's Kitchen, I think it's .com.au. She's absolutely worth following on Facebook. Always has some incredible things and a beautiful new shop in Sydney's North Shore.
Lovely.
Yeah, really nice. So anyway, I knew, we had spoken quite a bit. We were following each other's pages, and we were both passionate about integrative health. And she asked me to actually help her out on her stall at the Mind Forum a few years ago. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, no problems, I'll be there. And there were quite a few of us helping out, so we got to go to a couple of lectures in between helping on the stall, and I was just blown away by the calibre of the people, the balanced approach of people. It wasn't, a lot of people think these sorts of things are like hippie underground.
Anti-doctor, anti-medicine.
I mean, most of the lecturers are PhDs or doctors, so you can just dispel that myth straight away. And I was just so excited to know that there was a more holistic, root cause focused coming together of health professionals out there. And I just basically put my hand up and asked how I could be involved. And so from then I've sort of been advocating a little bit and helping, and I'm just about to do a workshop up there in August. And
that's good.
Yeah, just help spread the word. I just think whenever someone's doing a good thing, you just
exactly. And they asked me recently if I'd be an ambassador too, and I said yes, definitely, because same as you. I just think this kind of thing needs help getting out there. The more of us that get on board, the better.
It does, and we just can't forget that these sorts of organisations are not-for-profits.
Yes, it's not a big money-making business, so they need help.
Because a lot of us want these resources, and we're passionate about these resources, and we read everything on someone's Facebook page who is the not-for-profit, and then we get sad when they actually went bust and they couldn't go forward, and I'm not saying that's about to happen to mine
No.
all, but I am just wanting to reiterate that if this is something that you feel is a
help
great
with.
service, then get that membership. Just do it.
Yeah.
$100 if you can
Go to the
afford
forum
it.
next year.
Yeah, go to the forum. Absolutely.
So it's not just health professionals, it's also parents that go. Do they often take their kids, or is there stuff for kids to learn as well?
As such, to date, there hasn't really been a kids focus.
It's more for the parents.
It's
I did hear there was a couple of kids that went along that spoke, though. There was a young girl.
Yes, there was. So there are always some incredible testimonial cases who've really been helped by in the integrative care setting, and yeah, there'll be an appearance every now and then from one of those gorgeous kids. Yeah, for sure. But it is definitely more of an adult. I mean, it's quite scientific. It does go into quite a bit of detail, and you don't have to be a doctor yourself to understand it. It is still very the public room lectures are definitely able to be understood by members of the public. Yeah. But it's not for kids, no, I wouldn't say.
Okay. So. And who was your favourite speaker?
Oh my gosh,
some of them. You did mention one there.
How does one answer such a thing? Okay, I did love Stephanie Seneff. I've been following her research at MIT for a long time on glyphosate, and that's for anyone who doesn't know, the main ingredient of the world's biggest selling herbicide Roundup. And it's something that's used in most kiddie parks to kill weeds and most public grassy spaces.
And most families use it around the place.
Families got it in their backyard. So if there's one thing you just want to get up to speed on yourself, it's glyphosate, and ditch that bottle, because personally, once something like the World Health Organization deems something a probable carcinogen, they're not going to make a statement like that unless they have a lot of research behind it. That's the World Health Organization. Goodness sakes. So I just don't think we need to wait to see how it plays out. Like, why would we even
play with
danger?
Yeah.
It's literally playing with fire in future, I think. And I'm happy for everyone to do some testing in labs and everything for 15, 20 years and then go, oh, hey, it turns out it's okay. But in the meantime, there ain't no watching it. Certainly not when people like PhD Stephanie Seneff is saying, "Whoa, back! We've got to get rid of this stuff. It's really harmful."
So maybe you can give us the links, and we can put that in the notes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there was a practitioner from Byron. I cannot remember. I think she's a naturopath.
Okay,
but worth looking up. Rachel Arthur, and she did a lecture on the thyroid, and obviously. Having had some thyroid troubles myself, I really liked what she had to say. She talked about iodine and the fact that Aussies are majority deficient in iodine. She gave us the green light to eat as many oysters as we possibly could. I was pretty. I don't remember actually going out and buying some oysters. God, that's so indulgent. Just a random snack of a dozen oysters.
And just tell your husband, I had to. I've been told I need it for my health.
Absolutely. And he fully understood and shared them with me. It
was
that's
good. I love it.
But she had some really great things to say, and just especially a little light bulb for me and for anyone who's struggled, because this is something that does not get properly tested in most cases. You get given your little TSH, which is the main thyroid blood test marker, and then that will most often look normal as well, which is heartbreaking, because if you're displaying all the symptoms, but they're not testing T3, T4 antibodies, reverse T3, T4, then you're not getting a complete picture. But what she went even further to show was even if then you got a normal result, like within normal ranges, but you weren't given your absolute like point where you were within that normal range, maybe your T3 is right at the top of normal, but maybe your T4 is right at the bottom of normal. And so therefore the conversation those two things are having is what's causing your symptoms.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I thought that was just awesome.
Yeah.
So that little extra step, because it wasn't a step I'd ever gone.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm now exploring with my health professional.
Oh, that's good.
Which I'm really excited about. So I thought that was a really great little moment for me. And then things that throw our thyroid out of balance, she talked about goitrogenic activity, which is something that a lot of people have heard of, excessive raw cruciferous veg, excessive soy, millet even, tobacco smoke. And, when we talk, okay, maybe not about tobacco, but when we say something like millet or excessive raw cruciferous veg, I'm not talking about like one random green juice at a cafe with a friend once a month. I'm just talking about like piles and piles of the stuff because it's deemed to be so healthy and nutrient rich. People can then get on this bandwagon. It can affect them negatively if they go overboard. So I'm not
cruciferous veg for those
in a muffin at a cafe that's gluten-free. It doesn't mean you can't eat it. It just doesn't mean that maybe you don't make millet your grain staple at home.
That's
you know what I mean?
Not every day.
We can all freak out about these things and it's just not the right response.
No, but it's just being aware. So just mentioning cruciferous veg, a lot of people would know what they are, but just in case, broccoli, kale, your
Brussels
sprouts, cabbage.
Sprouts. And, the best way to have these is the way they had in Europe, which is really beautifully braised with lots of butter or some stock in a pan with some onions and, really well cooked.
Because soft.
Exactly. And delicious, right? So beautiful.
I must admit, I've never been a fan of things like kale salads and kale smoothies. I like mine cooked with lots of bacon fat or something.
And that's
or in a stew
as well. And it's an instinct thing. And this whole health thing online, you'll see someone who's healed from cancer, and then they happen to have lots of kale, and so the whole world literally starts juicing kale.
I know.
I just think we all need to sit back and listen to us more than anything. And if it doesn't digest well for you, if it doesn't sit right with you, or if you haven't read both sides of a point of view, then don't jump on any bandwagon.
Exactly. It's so easy to do.
Bandwagon. Your little voice inside should be your number one bandwagon.
Your little red wagon.
A little red wagon. There you go. But then I'll just mention a couple of other things in that goitrogenic list because there were a couple. There was also excessive iodine. So it's really something that's good to just pop into your biannual testing with your doctor to make sure that your levels are right. Your heavy metals, so including mercury, lead, cadmium. And there you can get, I don't know if people know out there, so I'll just say you can get a little hair test, which is a swatch of clean hair from the nape of your neck that you can send in. I think it's about $130. And you can be tested for all of those things with that hair sample. So if you're in this grey area and it's something you haven't tested yet, there might be the answer.
Where would you get help with getting one of those hair tests?
So you could look online for an area near you that does that testing. My chiropractor does it.
Okay.
Around the corner from my house. So a lot of holistic health professionals will be able to give you that resource.
Or a naturopath.
Send a way for it. Yeah, exactly. So, your doctor even, don't never discount them. And then what was the other thing I just wanted to bring up? Chlorine. Okay. So that could be like, we love going to the pool. Aussies love swimming. And if you live inland, then it's not going to be the beach. It's going to be the swimming pool. And there's a lot of chlorine in pools. There's a lot of chlorine in tap water.
Showers, baths.
Showers, absolutely. So this is not to be alarmist, but it could be part of the overall picture if you're having thyroid problems. The best thing you can do before hitting the pool for a lap swim is to put on some coconut oil or some sort of barrier for your skin.
That's a good idea.
In a bath for the little ones, my favourite trick is to just put a tablespoon of ascorbic acid in the bath and just let that vapour off for a couple of minutes with an open window before you pop the little person in.
That's a good idea.
Because that neutralises some of the chlorine impact.
Okay, good tip.
And get a water filter. It is such a great investment to get a water filter, even if you don't believe in fluoride filtration. That's a personal choice based on everybody's knowledge and what they've looked at around that subject. But if you remove one thing or two things, it's that chlorine and pesticide situation. And even the most basic of filters will get rid of those two things. So that's a great first step on that.
Good.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really great lecture. Went into some really good practical advice.
Oh, that's good, yeah. And what did you teach about?
I did one of the Food as Medicine demos, and my topic was discovery, not deprivation. That's one of my catchphrases in the face of restricted diets.
Yes.
So
good.
and I just talked a little bit about what restriction looks like to the average family. So if you told the average family you can't have any processed foods, and that means all of the packets of snacks, certainly any of the flavoured ones, which is where you find the hidden MSG, and all of that kind of thing, that would feel like a restrictive diet to the average Australian family. Then you've got the health situation restrictive diet, which is removing food groups.
Yes.
Whether that's out of preference or experimentation, or because the doctor has said, no, you've got an allergy, whatever the restriction might look like, we can then take it two ways. We can be depressed and annoyed and sad that we're never going to be able to have these things, and our life has just been
ruined.
Upside down, ruined. I remember when I found out I had a gluten allergy. It was devastating.
No more croissants.
You can't tell me not to eat a croissant.
I thought that's what it would be for you.
It sure was. How did you guess?
Yeah, French.
So I was really sad, and I remember crying, and I just wish there had been a lecture that I could have gone to where I said the words I said on that first day of me finding that out, because we all just need to look to the positive messages in our lives rather than the negative ones. And I just wanted to create sort of a little hour where we could get excited about what we can have and how to jig around some recipes, a couple of really basic kids' treats. So I did a custard and I did a jelly.
Oh, that's good.
And the jelly was a beautiful additive-free gelatin-rich jelly, and made with kefir and frozen berries and and some coconut water. And the custard was a coconut milk base, so that was great for the dairy-free families. And there was even an egg-free version where you could add gelatin. There was some beautiful turmeric in there as an anti-inflammatory. There's just so much we can do. And
there is.
I just wanted to hopefully help a few people in the audience think, okay, my life has not just been ruined. I can have these treats, because that's, of course, a really emotional connection that we have with our kids, that birthday party or Friday afternoon yummy something, or, you want to do that. So just
they don't have to feel left out from all the other kids. They can totally enjoy their food.
Absolutely, yeah. And these families end up changing the health picture, not just for their family, but once other people see, oh, wow, what's in that cake? Oh, my gosh, it's, it hasn't got any additives. And wow, it's a one-bowl wonder. That was so easy to make. Oh, my gosh.
So delicious.
Yeah, and then you can end up changing the picture, especially for regular families who don't even need to give up food groups, but maybe just want to
variation.
Or just want to focus on ditching additives, because that's the elephant in the room that a lot of these different diet types, we talk about paleo this and vegan that, and they're additives to me are the number one thing we should be
definitely.
Yeah.
Real food first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yep. So did you hear any amazing inspirational stories from people at the forum that you wanted to share, or can you think of anything like that?
There is so much inspiration that comes through.
I'm sorry, that's probably a too big a question.
One particular thing, I'm not sure that I could, but I did meet a lot of parents who came up to me and said, they were saying thank you for your presentation, but they then shared a little bit about their kids, and I couldn't tell you how many people talked about behaviour changes when their kids ditched the additives, and how it turned out they didn't even need to be on asthma medication because it was sulfite preservatives in the dried fruits. That's just, the list goes on. And I'm not saying that in any of these cases that means
same for everybody. No.
Just dried fruits and therefore ditch your Ventolin. I'm absolutely not saying that. It's a conversation to have with your health practitioner. But, once you start to try a few things out in your own life, because you are your best health professional in your family, that a lot of people do find that they can at least minimise or reverse some of the effects of the chronic illnesses they're experiencing, which
Yeah.
is just so exciting. Oh
It
my
is.
God.
It just makes me excited to be at the stage of our, where medicine is now. We're learning so much, and science is finally, sort of helping these people. And I know that there's more and more problems because there's also the side of science that wants to make pseudo foods and causes the trouble.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we do have these people that are passionate about helping and getting people back on the right track. And it is exciting to see the changes that people are finding in their health.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So, yeah, no, I couldn't single out one, but I definitely had people give me some little kind of mini conversations of hope, which was super exciting.
So much hope. So one thing I wanted to mention on the Mind Foundation website, what MIND stands for is Metabolic, Immunologic, Neurologic, Digestive, or Developmental. So these are the kind of conditions that the MIND Foundation works towards helping. So if any of you out there do have children with these kinds of conditions, or the grey areas, as Alexx says, or even yourself, it's
more and more adults
that are getting allergies late in life. I'd met a lady who was about 30 who suddenly had an anaphylactic reaction, had never had an allergy in her life, and they said, "You're terribly allergic to nuts." And it just came on later in life. So there's a lot of help there to be had, so don't despair. But do go and have a look at the Mind Foundation. So I'll just spell it out. It's MINDD.org. So that's the website, and I will put the link on the notes as well. But there is a practitioner page you can go onto there. And I just wanted to mention also they're putting together a Mind Foundation cookbook. So Leslie, who's in charge of the Mind Foundation, is really wanting to get these great recipes and stories out to the public, and she's been trying to work on this for years and hasn't managed to get it together. And she said what they're going to do is a recipe competition. So anybody who has recipes that they think would be good for helping people who are trying to heal with food, or if you've got a little story to go along with your recipe, that would be great. You can go onto the Mind website, mind.org, and enter your recipes. And I'm one of the judges in the competition. So I think that'll be a great recipe book that we can sort of get out there to help people. So did you have anything else you wanted to share about that? That's really interesting. I'm dying to go now.
It's really good. I just think for anyone for any parent, because we live in an age where we're going to come up against all sorts of random things that might happen to our kids, or even a friend of our kids, and to just be more aware of the forefront of holistic integrative healthcare is just a wonderful little skill to have. And it means that if you ever have to make a decision about something, you're more open-minded yourself. And there's a saying that says, never take a point of view unless you've read the direct opposite of that.
Yeah, that's such a good saying.
We would all learn so much more tolerance and more openness if we all did that, you know. It's something I try to practice wherever I can. If I read, for example, if I read oh my gosh, cast iron is the absolute best thing to cook with in the world, I will find something that says, oh my gosh, beware of cast iron. There's all of this to worry. I will try and read both.
And have a balanced viewpoint on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have to. And something like Mind just opens up this beautiful new way of looking at healthcare that I think in this day and age where we can all say we either know someone's kid or we have a kid ourselves, or
we've 3
ourselves, or, it's not normal to be degenerating in our 30s.
No.
And if there's nothing that's so pronounced that we can't be operated on or medicated for, then we should be looking at other ways to support our health and change that picture. So just get on board. That's how I'll end.
Get on board. I agree. Oh, thank you so much, Alexx. That was really good. And thank you everybody for listening in to A Quirky Journey. We hope you enjoyed it and that you found lots of helpful information for your journey to good health. You can post questions and comments on our Facebook pages. So Alexx's is Alexx Stuart, is ALEXX. Don't forget. Stuart, STUART. Do you have anything else in your Facebook page? Just Alexx Stuart?
I think mine's
Does it
just
still say Low Tox
site.
Living?
So alexstewart.com.
Okay, alexstewart.com.
Join up to my Facebook page from there.
That's probably the easiest. And you can join her newsletter and have a look at the courses that she runs online as well. And leave us some questions on her Facebook. She has a great Facebook page. That's why I had to mention it, because you put some really good little quotes and things on there and ideas and tips, and check out the ingredients in this product and really done in a lovely way, not ever hassling people and preaching at people in a nasty way, which some sites do. No, it's very balanced.
Well, we're just all on a journey. I haven't arrived, and nor has anybody else.
Exactly.
So it's really just about trying to be a better human than yesterday across all sorts of things.
And not beating yourself up if you mess up.
Oh, gosh, no. Whatever you're doing is enough.
Yeah.
As long as it's a little step in front of the other every now and then that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have a look at her page and her blog. And I'd also love for you to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, A Quirky Journey, and also check out thewellnesscouch.com, where you can view heaps more wellness podcasts. There's some really good ones. And please stay inspired, and I'll be back next week to share another amazing story with you. I've got a young lady coming on the show next week who's 18 and who's already been through a very big health journey and is on GAPS, and she's going to share her story with us next week. So I can't wait for that one. Don't miss it. So thank you so much, Alexx, and I'm sure you'll be back again to come and chat with us again.
You're super welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives.
Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.